Hey everyone, I'm Rio from Rio Bujo, and here is a video for you about the tools I use to bullet journal. Okay, so let's start with the most important thing, the bullet journals I use. Since December I've been using Scribbles That Matter journals, and I think I found the perfect journal for me. Oh, go ahead and follow them on Instagram because their account is great and they've got a lovely social media team. So I've had two A5 Scribbles That Matter journals, and now I'm using, this is my current journal, and it's the B5, the new B5 version of the dotted journal. And I absolutely love this thing. It is the best journal ever, and I just love the size of the B5 as well. I've figured out I'm definitely a B5 kind of person. Here's my pen test page, so you can see that there's minimal ghosting and no bleeding, and that's really important for me because of all the art I do on my in my journal. I want to do pages back to back like these are, without any sticking pages together or any rubbish like that. I don't want to be doing that. So they're perfect for that. This is my first bullet journal that I had in December, and as you can see, it's not as nice as it is now. I didn't start off to be this arty, but I just, as the time went on, I just wanted to do more and more art in it because it was fun for me, and I was the more color I added, the more happy I was getting from opening my journal, and you really can't put a price on that, especially when you have mental health issues like me. So I just love opening it and seeing all the colors. So this was my second journal, I just threw all the colors at it, and now I absolutely love it. And it's just so much fun. I just love, thinking about what I'm going to do next, and my doctors love it and everything. So yeah, it's just so much fun for me to do this. So here's a good example of how great the pages in the STM are. This is acrylic paint on the back of acrylic paint, and I didn't have to stick any pages together. As you can see, there's minimal ghosting, there's no bleeding, and I've done back-to-back pages with no problem. Everything I've thrown at the Scribbles That Matter journal, it's handled like a pro, and I couldn't be happier with them. So yeah, here's my 3 journals. Okay, so here's all the pens I use for drawing and writing in my bullet journal. My favourite one to use for drawing is the Staedtler pigment liners. They come in 1.2 and 1.0, and they're the only ones on Amazon that came in this size. So I just took a chance on them, and I wasn't expecting, them to be as good as they are, but they're amazing. They're really thick, they got a really lovely black lay down, they're very black, and they're just perfect for drawing. So let me show you what I mean. I'll just write hello on this piece of, in my Scribbles That Matter journal, and the best thing about them is, when you draw and sometimes the line is not all equal, there'll be like the darker tip and the lighter bit. Well, this one has like a really even lay down, and that's why I love them so much, because it looks like, for my characters, it's just perfect. So yeah, I love these, highly recommend them. Now, because of the pencils I use, sometimes if I go over my lines a little bit, it will wash the line out. So I draw over my lines again at the end with this sign pen. Now this is full of ink. It's just so black, and when I draw over my lines, it makes them really pop out, and I love that about my drawings. Like, I love thick black lines. It makes my blending that I do with my pencils more noticeable. So I'll just show you what I mean. They're very thick and black, this pen is, and it's just perfect for drawing over my pencils. It draws over them with no problem at all. It doesn't get clogged up from the pencils, which some pens do, and it's just great for drawing the eyes on my characters. So most of my characters' eyes are coloured in using this sign pen. Here you go, look, it's even blacker than the Staedtler ones. So yeah, I draw over my fine lining at the end with this sign pen. I use this jelly roll sometimes for the same thing, and it's thinner, so if I'm doing some thinner lines, that's cool. I used to use these uni pins, but I don't really use them anymore because in my B5 I need thicker lines. And for my printed writing, I use Papermate flares for everything. And I was chuffed because I managed to get the fine one, this one, in Hobbycraft the other day, and I hadn't seen it before. So for all my printed writing in my bullet journal, I used Papermate flares, and I think it makes my printed writing look nicer. I don't like using ballpoint pens because it makes my writing look horrible. So yeah, highly recommend Papermate flares. I'll just show you what I mean. Here's some of my writing I've done with Papermate flares. So these are acrylic paint markers. I've got a thick one and a thin one. I bought them about 5 years ago on eBay, and I'm still using them because you can refill them, which is amazing. Highly recommend getting these. I use it for all the black paint in my bullet journal, so I don't have to get the paints out and the brushes out and having to wash them and deal with all that. I don't want to deal with all that. So I just use these markers instead, and they're brilliant for that. Let me just show you in my bullet journal where I've used them. So here the black background is all the acrylic marker pen. So I didn't have to get all my paints out, I can just get the pens out and draw like it's a felt tip pen. Brush pens, I use the WH Smith ones. I haven't actually tried Tombows yet. I don't use them very much though anyway. I only use them in my journal to write the days of the week with. But I love these WH Smith ones because they can handle me being quite heavy-handed with them. Because I have a movement disorder, I can sometimes be quite heavy-handed with my pens. So I've used blue for the days of the week, the blue version of this brush pen, and I just love the colours of them too. They're really great. Okay, so let's talk about the white in my bullet journal. Now white is really important to me because I do a lot of space stuff and the whites of the eyes of my characters, and I've had trouble finding the perfect white pen. So these are the ones I've got so far, and the Pilot Super Color is my favourite. It's the whitest, it colours over luminance, polychromos and Holbeins with ease, which none of the others really do. And I really like how white that one is. I'm currently just bought the Pentel and I'm not quite sold on that yet, but I am using it. Jelly Roll, I don't think these are very good, but if you use the thick Posca marker and not the thin one, because the thin one doesn't draw over polychromos or luminance pencils, but if you use the thick Posca marker and then draw over that with the Jelly Roll, then it creates a really nice white line. So that's what I do for my calligraphy and stuff, and this is a Pilot version of the Jelly Roll and it's basically exactly the same. And if all that fails, I just get out my white pen. I've got an acrylic paint pen like the black one you just saw, and I fill it with white paint. I couldn't find it for this video, but yeah, I use white paint if all that fails. So in my journal page, this was when I bought all the white pens, so you can see the difference between them. So here in the stars. So the whitest stars you can see, those are the permanent white Supercolor pen. But the Posca marker, the thin one, I didn't think it was very good at all. If you see the lines of the stars, the shiny bits, that's the Posca marker, and compared to the Pilot, it's really just completely opaque. So let's talk about my most prized possession at the moment, and that is my coloured pencils. I absolutely love my pencils. I love looking at them, I love drawing with them, I love the colours they produce. So on Prime Day, polychromos in the UK were half price, so I managed to get the 120 set of them, and I was so happy because I've been wanting the 120 set of them for so long, and before that I'd only had about 60 to 70 of them, which most of them I bought open stock. So it was really lovely to have a brand new set of polychromos. I mean, here's the greys, which I use the most. I use those to make my whites whiter and everything, so that they're the ones that have already been used a lot. There's two sets in here though, some of them are from my old set. But yes, the greys are my favourite. These are my luminance pencils. I don't have as many of these because they're really expensive. A couple of them I bought open stock, and I bought a 40 set as well because they were on sale. But I love these pencils. I wish I had all of them. They're so bright. This pink is my ultimate favorite, by the way. But yeah, they're so bright. They're so, vibrant. They don't fade. They're permanent color. So I've got no worries about it fading or anything like that. So yeah, I've only got a couple of them, but I really, really love them. And whenever I use them, people are like, oh, I can't believe that's pencil. It looks like markers, and that's mostly because of the luminance pencils. They're really bright, and the red is so red. It's redder than any of the pencils I've ever had. So they're perfect. And I do wish I had all of them though. But yeah, they're really expensive. I also have Holbeins as well. I only have 12 of them, but I have the pastel rainbow ones. And this pastel rainbow set is the nicest pastel rainbow colours that you're ever going to get in any set. And I've used them for all my rainbows in my bullet journal. These are the only Prismas I have left. I don't keep Prismas anymore, and I don't use them anymore because they fade, they transfer even after using Fixative, and I'm really disappointed with how my older bullet journal pages look where I've just used Prismas and they faded. So yeah, I don't use them anymore. So here's a picture of Eevees I did on my bullet journal, and for the background that's Holbeins that I've done for the rainbow, and polychromos for the foreground, so you can see the difference in vibrancy and why the Holbeins are so great. And this is a picture of my bullet journal where I've used all of them together, all of the pencils that I own together, which is my favourite thing to do because they've all got different positives and negatives and everything. So I love the look of using all of the different brands of pencils together. So yeah, most of my drawings I've used all of my pencils together. So let's talk about the sharpener I use to maintain my pencils. I use a Tegal, and I love this thing. I've had 3 of them so far, and they're just so good. If you've got Prismacolor pencils, I highly recommend this. I don't think you can get away without using this for your Prismas. They'll make them last longer. Now the best thing about this is it's got a dial, so you can choose what length you want your tip to be. So if you pick number 5, it'll be a really long tip like this. And if you pick a 1 for Prismas and polychromos or wherever, it will give you a lovely sharp small point like this. Now my pencils last way longer sharpening them on a 1 than they do on a 5, so I'm always sharpening it on a 1, and also because I love using the sharp tip for all my drawings and layering and stuff, so my pencils last so much longer using this Tegal sharpener, so I highly recommend getting one. It's so worth it. Okay, so let's talk about the fixative I use to keep my drawings awesome. So once I've finished completing everything on the page, I will spray my colouring with fixative. This is a Winsor & Newton Professional fixative. So what you do is shake the can, open it, and then just spray over your pencil. Here's some I created earlier. Now it absolutely stinks when you first use it, but once it's dry you can't smell it at all, which is perfect for me. My bullet journal still smells like book, which is really important for me because I love the smell of books. But yeah, it's a must-have, especially for Prismas, although with Prismas you're still going to get some transfer even after using it, which is annoying. I only use this on my full page spreads now. I don't need to use it on my ones where I've just done a bit of colouring because my polychromos and luminance pencils are just way better quality and they don't transfer very much. But as you can see, I've sprayed it on this page. It doesn't cause bleed through. Now in some of the other journals I had, and I sprayed fixative over my pencil, it did cause bleeding and ghosting, but it doesn't in the Scribbles That Matter journal. So I would very much caution you about using it in other journals. But yeah, once it's dry, you can draw on that page and you won't get any transfer on that page. So thanks for watching. I really hope you enjoyed my video on the tools I use to bullet journal. Let me know if you liked it by clicking like, leave me a comment or subscribe, and I will speak to you soon.